Hi, it's Emily Freitag, and I'm so excited to be joined today by Sarah Carpenter, who's the executive director of the Memphis Lift, a parent advocacy organization in Memphis, and a friend of mine. Sarah, it is good to see you, and thank you for joining our series.
Thank you, Emily. I'm glad to be here. I feel honored to be here with you, and it's great seeing you. I haven't seen you in so
Too
long.
long. I know. I miss you. Um, so Sarah, we're talking in a series about what we know, about what works and what doesn't, and we start every interview just by hearing a story. So would love to just hear a story from either your learning experience, maybe one of your kids, your grandkids, just about and kind of what that story teaches you about what matters.
Well, what my learning experience is like when every school in my neighborhood was failing the elementary, the middle, and the high school. And when a new model of school came to our city to talk about coming in our neighborhood, where I sit in a room with probably 150 people with talking about the concept of this school and coming to our neighborhood, and people didn't want that school to come here. I knew it needed to come here. That was in 2002, and I knew something had to change in our community, and I stood up with against people that I care about. I stood up against friends. I stood up and said, we need this. And that was in 2001 when they brought the concept, excuse me. In 2002 is when the school opened up in my community. And I just knew I wanted my granddaughter, my oldest granddaughter, to go to a better school because I knew it was
Mm-hmm,
some problems going on. And
mm-hmm,
so that school came to our community, but what works is when we change our mindset about change.
mm,
What doesn't work is when we don't change our mindset about change, and that proved to me when I had to get out there and talk to my neighbors about this concept, this school coming to our community, and I changed some mindsets. And I believe, especially where I come from, when you change your mindset and have an open mind, things will work out for children. And I said children because that's who I fight for, and that's
mm-hmm,
who I've been fighting for the last 25 plus years.
mm-hmm. Tell us about your granddaughter's experience at that school.
My granddaughter's experience at that school was amazing. Um, I tell everybody this, that if it weren't for that school coming to my community, I don't think, because that school changed my mindset. So I had to go back and change my daughter's new mindset because they're children, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and I grew up in an era where my mom, single mom, my dad passed away when I was 9 years old. And my mom didn't talk about college because my mom was trying to make ends meet, right? So
Mm-hmm.
walking in this school every day, and I volunteered at this school for like 10 years
Mm,
because that's how important it was to me. And walking in that school every day, and they got college and college, they talked about college. And
mhm,
so one day I walked in that school, and my granddaughter's classroom, they was said 2010, and they were screaming out college.
mm,
I remember that
mhm,
year that she had to scream out college.
mhm,
So, and I'm like, Kentori's going to college. And I
mhm,
had to run back home and tell my daughters and them that Kentori can go to college. And it's about a mindset change and breaking cycles in a family. And
mhm,
once I told my daughters and them that, they was on board. So
mhm,
that's what I know work when parents can make informed decisions about where their children go to school,
mhm,
and people respect the parents' decision where they want to send their kids to school. And
mhm.
that's what we did. We decided to send Kentoria to that school, and she's the first college graduate in 4 generations in my family. And not only that, her sister Victoria, who's the youngest sister to Kentoria, she finished college, so she went to that same school. So here we
Mhm.
are.
Here you
So
are. Well, I've been looking forward to talking to you because parents and the role parents play in education has been a theme across a lot of these conversations. And I know from our relationship how passionate you are about really changing the role that parents are playing. And so would just love to hear a little bit more about Memphis Lift and also about like this time in particular, disrupted schooling. What do you think is changing about the role parents and the relationship parents have with schools?
I truly believe that in the middle of a pandemic, I looked at it from the beginning when we came home in March and when the kids came home in March. I didn't really think about it that seriously at that point, but when we got into June and looked like our kids still weren't going to go back to school in August, I was like, this may be the opportunity. I took it as an opportunity to change things in our education system. And I tell everybody, I say it to this day, this is an opportunity for us to change the educational system that haven't worked for all children. Yeah.
And so what have you learned? Like, and what do you think does work in terms of building a stronger relationship between parents and schools?
I have learned that parents play a important role, and you gotta let them play their role, and you gotta bring them to the table. That's the only way our school system gonna work. I have looked at, like schools that's really doing well in this city, and I go all over this city, Emily, and the level 5 schools and the kids that's growing in those schools, I see parents at that school all day. Parents at that school all day. And then I come to inner city, you don't see parents at these schools. And the reason I know parents at these schools all day, because I have watched it for years, over the years. And then when I get to my community, parents not at the school every day. And I feel like now's the time to build the teacher parent relationship and the whole institution. We got to build a relationship with parents to make it work. And I'm crazy enough to believe when they change their mindset, when the people that's in power change their mindset about parents, that's when things begin to change.
And are you seeing that happen? Like what does it take to make that happen?
I think it's going to have to start from a federal level. I think, and then it trickle down to the state level, and then certainly to the local level. I think it's gonna have to start at a federal level, where they squeeze parents in there some kind of way, just like they squeeze people in there that they want in these places. We gotta have parents that can relate to parents, and that's what's so unique about the Memphis Lift, that we are the parents that we serve. We are those same parents that somebody believed in and helped us start an organization. And we are the people closest to the problem. And we are the people, and I truly believe the people closest to the problem can fix the problem.
So tell us more about what you're seeing within the Memphis Lift families right now. Like, how are kids doing? What's working? What's not?
I think we are struggling. I said it again. I'll say it again, that we are the parents that we serve. And I had a 9th grader and 2 8th graders here with me every day. And now that the 9th grader goes to a pod at Street Ministries, and I got the 8th graders here, and it's so much that we don't know as parents. We're not educators. And we said that from the beginning, we are not educators. And I called the school the other day. The school got to help the parents navigate this virtual learning. And I called the school. I said, look, I need help, and this is where you can help me. And I laid it out 1, 2, 3. I need help knowing what's missing. I'm sitting here, I'm trying to work also. Our parents are struggling trying to work also, and they can't keep up. They're not educators. So the school gonna have to communicate with the families that they serve.
And so what doesn't work? Like, can you give us some examples of like what's tripping you up really practically?
What doesn't work is when people don't partner with families and parents. That's what's not working. And we still struggle with that, where the communication lines is not open with our districts and with our, not just in Memphis, I talk to parents everywhere. They not communicating like they should with parents, and they got to remember that we are not educators. And I say that boldly, that we're not educators, and we need help navigating this thing. I also see parents struggling with food. I see parents struggling with COVID, losing family members. We lost 2 parents in a week. We lost 2 parents in a week. One of our faithful parents last week, and a couple days later, another one of our parents passed away from COVID. And Kim, she been on my mind since I heard this news. She had 5 children and a 3-week-old baby, and she passed away. And I mean, so I'm all on my mind is what's going to happen with these children. What's going to happen with these children? And she loved her children, you know. So, and then we dealing with that. We dealing with the fear of COVID, and we dealing with people that don't understand that we got a right to be afraid because it's hitting our community like 3 times harder than any other community. And that's, I've been saying this since people been calling me, what you think about kids going back to school? I don't agree with it until we get this pandemic under control. I got a neighbor down the street, her grandson had COVID. And she just blessed enough where it didn't get her or her husband. So, and we got a right to be afraid when you turn on the news and you see how many Black and brown people are getting COVID and dying from COVID. And people don't, and I think that when we learn to respect each other's opinion, we can move forward. And they got to respect our opinion about sending our kids back to school. Myself have underlying issues. I'm afraid. I'm totally afraid.
So, I mean, I'm so sorry to hear about Kim, and I'm so sorry to hear about your colleagues and your parents. I'm wondering what you want educators to know. I hear you saying a couple things. I hear you saying, I want you to listen to me with respect. I want you to respect my right to be afraid. I hear you saying, I want you to communicate with me more clearly. What else do you want from your school in this time?
I want our schools, I want our district leaders to know that we in this thing together, and we want to partner with you. We're not here to run anything. We just want you to know how we feel and what we know will work for our children. And evidently they need us, Emily, because what they've been doing is not working. So try our way. And I think we get caught up in egos about these parents don't know what they're talking about. Yes, we do. We know our children better than you do. And if you help us navigate this thing, I believe our children will be successful, and your district will be successful. And certainly, children will be successful. And I just want them to know we in this to partner with you, not to tell you what to do. We're here to partner with you.
And, a lot of people are talking about this being an opportunity to really rethink school in some ways that are long overdue. Any other thoughts you're hearing from parents about, on the other side of this? Let us hope that day is near when we do have the option of going back to normal. Like, what do you want that new normal to look like, and how do you want it to be different?
I want that new normal, because what we left wasn't normal, Emily. Because our kids was failing, so that wasn't normal. So I want the new normal to look like listening to parents and kids going in a school, and when they leave that school, they can read, number one. They can do math on grade level. That's what I want, and giving parents the resources they need at home. Because you can't tell me, if you tell me my 8th grade on a 1st grade reading level, that me as a grandparent and a parent won't help that child to try to get where they need to be. We need the resources we need at home. I would also like to see teachers get the support that they need. If you got a young teacher coming into school for the first time to teach children, especially low income, underserved children, you got to train them how to deal with those children. You got to train them how to teach those children.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Anything about, the school that your granddaughter went to, or just teachers that you have loved that you feel like really makes them stand out and makes them different?
Yes, yes. Those teachers, Emily, when I tell you, I lived in this community, so I would drive through this community often, and sometimes it would be nighttime, and those teachers was in those buildings like 9 o'clock at night, getting ready for the next day. That
Mm-hmm.
those were those kind of teachers. I seen teachers loving on kids. I seen kids when kids had issues at home. We all stepped in, myself too.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't a teacher, but I brought the teachers along. We stepped in to help those kids. I have seen kids lose parents
Mm-hmm.
to death, and we was right there with those kids. Those are the kind of things, and that's how you build a relationship. And I see some of those kids now, and they still bring that up, So
Mm-hmm.
I seen teachers with empathy, not sympathy, empathy for
Mm-hmm.
children, and loving on children and nurturing children.
Mm-hmm.
That's what made that school successful.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Such a theme. Um, Sarah, what is giving you hope? This is, I mean, just an unbelievable time. Um, what are you, what's going on in your own head to kind of keep moving forward, and what stories are inspiring you?
What's inspiring me the most that parents are rising up and saying, I want this for my child. We
Mm-hmm.
have meetings, monthly meetings with our parents, and
Mm-hmm.
giving them the information that they need. And when you give parents the tools they need, they can stand up. We're not in this fight as an advocacy
Mm-hmm.
organization by ourselves. We're here to train our parents. And once our parents get trained, Emily, they can go out and fight. We're gonna fight with them, but
Mm-hmm.
we educate them and they'll know what they fighting for, and we can go and have their back. I
Mm-hmm.
got hope that sooner or later that people gonna listen to parents from a federal level, a local level, and a
Mm-hmm.
district level.
Mm-hmm.
I have that hope because parents not gonna be quiet anymore.
Mm-hmm.
They're not gonna be quiet anymore.
Some good trouble, sounds like.
Right, good trouble.
Sarah, thank you so much for this conversation. Thank you for the work you're doing. Thank you for the friendship. And
Thank you, Emily.
I think this is such a hard time, and I hope we can be together at some level in it.
Right. We will. We will. I got that hope too that this pandemic gonna go away and we're gonna all be back together again. So I'm
I look
excited.
forward to the hugs.
All right.